सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावदिभ्या निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनः उरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावत् भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानां योगीन्द्राणां त्वदङ्गेष्वधिकसुमधुरं मुक्तिभाजां निवासो भक्तानां कामवर्षद्युतरुकिसलयं नाथ ते पादमूलं नित्यं चित्तस्थितं मे पवनपुरपते कृष्णा कारुण्यसिन्धो कृष्णा कारुण्यसिन्धो हृत्वा निशेषतापान् प्रदिशतु परमानन्द सन्दोहलक्ष्मी
Guru Pavanapure Hantabhagyam Jananam. Namaskaram to all the Astikas. We have seen in the previous episode how Anirudha, Krishna's grandson, son of Pradyumna, grandson of Krishna, who was forcibly brought over to Shonitapura by Usha's friend called Chitralekha, was spotted by the men of Banasura, and Banasura held captive both Anirudha and Usha, his daughter. Listening to this news from Narada, Krishna came and sieged the capital of Banasura called Shonitapura. And that Shonitapura, which was protected by Siva, arrived with his entire Ganas as the army, along with Guha. And Guha confronted Pradyumna, while we had Satyaki, who had confronted Banasura, and Krishna and Shiva were in a direct fight. What happened next? Bhaṭṭatiri says, Niruddha sheshastre mumuhushi tavastrena girishe druta bhuta bhita pramatha kula veera pramachitaha paraskandat skandak kusuma sharabaanaischa sachivaha Sakumbhando bhandam navamiva balenashu bibhide girishe niruddha aseshastre. When Shiva, who was using all the astras that he had, all of them were blocked. Girishe niruddha aseshastre. Aseshastram, whatever was left over, that was being blocked. Niruddha mumuhushi tava astrena. And thereby there was a momentary falling unconsciously by Shiva and his Ganas, Tava Astrena, by the Astra called Mohanastram by Krishna, Bhutaha, Bhitaha, Drutaha. The Bhutas got scared and they started running away. Pramatha Kulaviraha, Pramachitaha. The leader amongst the Pramathas of Shiva's Ganas, they were all being crushed and they were being defeated. Pramatha Kulaviraha Pramathitaha Skandaha cha Paraskandat. Guha, who is referred to as Guha Kartikeya earlier, that Skanda, Paraskandat, was also repelled by whom and how? Kusuma Sharabanaihi, with the arrows that were akin to that of flowers. Now, why is this flower arrow coming into picture? Because Pradyumna is also believed to be the Aparavataram of Manmatha. Manmatha has Ikshu Dhanush and Pushpabanam. So this Pushpabana is associated with Manmatha, who is now associated with Pradyumna. So Pradyumna is now associated with Kusuma Shara Banehi, of Kusuma Sharam, of flower arrows, which is associated with Pradyumna. With that, he was able to push away Skanda. Skandaha cha paraskandat. Sachivaha, the minister to Banasura, called as Kumbhandaha. So this Kumbhanda, his name is Kumbhanda. So there is a name of a pot there. Now Bhaṭṭatiri plays a beautiful alliteration game with us. So he says this person called Kumbhanda was crushed to death by Balarama, as if Balarama is crushing a new bhandam, a pot that is made of earthen clay. Ashu bibhide balena iva navam bhandam. Navam bhandam is a new pot, so it will be like wet, right? So it's easier to crush. So like a navam bhandam is being crushed, Balarama crushed this Kumbhanda. So Kumbhanda was being crushed by Balarama with the Kusuma Sharabanam. Pradyumna was driving away Skanda, and Shiva and his Ganas were being crushed by Krishna through Mohanastra. So Ivam Navam Bhandam, says Bhaṭṭatiri in this second shloka. Next he continues, Chapanam Panchashatya Prasabham Upagate Chinna Chape Thabane Vyarthe Yate Sameto Jwarapati Rajwari Tvajwarena Jnani Stutva Thadatva Tava Charita Jusham Vijwaram Sajwarogat Prayontar Jnanavanto Picha Bahutamasa Raudra Cheshta Hi Raudraha Atha Bane Prasabham Upagate. When Banasura was advancing vigorously, when there was a vigorous advancement of Banasura, Chapanam Panchashatya, with 500 bows, because Banasura, we told, he was a Sahasrabahu possessed with so many hands. Vyarthe yate chinna chape sati. But he retreated in vain because all of them were broken, all the bows were broken. Jwarapatihi sametaha, with the chief of Shaiva fevers. Now a Shiva Jwaram was filed at Krishna. When it was fired at Krishna, Ashanaihi Ajvari Tvajwarena. But that Shiva Jwaram was being oppressed. So Banasura, he came with 500 bows and thereby arrows, they were crushed. Now Shiva came with Shiva Jwaram, that was crushed with Tvajwarena, with Vaishnava Jwaram. Athasaha Jwaraha Jnani. That Shaiva fever, that fever which became enlightened, Agat Stutva Dattva, it just didn't retreat. That Shivajwaram just didn't retreat. It made a stuti of Krishna and went. Agat Stutva Dattva Vijwaram Tava Charita Jusham, freedom from fever that would cause so much of turmoil amongst people. Raudraha Apicha Jnanavantaha. Here Bhaṭṭatiri makes a remark. We should take it from the context of this particular incident. Let us not extrapolate it and let's not create a big tussle of war because of this. He says, Raudraha, those who worship Mahadeva Rudra, Apicha Jnanavantaha. There is no doubt they are of great knowledge. Antaha Prayaha Raudra Cheshtahi. But they may end up doing deeds which are not in accordance with the Vedic injunctions. They may not be doing activities which are completely merciful. There is compassion in it. Antaha prayaha raudra cheshtahi bahu tamasa. What could be the reason? Maybe there is more of tamo gunam in them that makes them do all these things. Says Bhaṭṭatiri, probably hinting at this incident alone. We should not extrapolate it and create divisions within Sanatana Dharma. But here Bhaṭṭatiri says, looking at this incident, it appears as if Raudraha apicha jnanavantaha, though they are jnanis of great knowledge, antaha prayaha raudra cheshtahi bahu tamasa, because of that increase in tamogunam. Then he continues, Banam nana yudhadogram punarabhipatitam darpadoshadvitanvan nirluna seshadosham sapadi bubudhusha shankare nopagitaha tadvacha shishtabahudvitayamubhayato nirbhayam tatpriyam tam muktva taddattamano nijapuramagamaha sa Aniruddha sakoshaha. Vitanvan Banam Adhipatitam, rendering that Banasura who had come to attack you, Krishna, Punaha Nanayudhogram, again with different kinds of weapons, Darpadoshat. Why did he come? Because of that arrogance in him. Nirluna Asesha Dosham, you devoid him of all his hands and blemishes. Tvam Upagitaha Shankarena. At that point in time, Mahadeva Rudramurti came and praised you. Bubudhusha, on realization, Muktvatam Tat Priyam, did release him, Banasura, and thereby you released Banasura because Shiva pleaded, because he is his devotee. That Tat Priyam, Shishtabahu Dvitayam Ubhayataha, but you did spare a few hands, 2 on either sides, 2 plus 2, 4 hands for Banasura, and managed to surrender all of them. So Dvitayam Ubhayataha, Nirbhayam Tadvacha, and rid of fear on Shiva's request, because there was Kampanam. Krishna removed that fear. Taddattamanaha Agamaha, and thereby honored by Banasura, you took away both your grandson Anirudha and his beloved Usha. Nijapuram Saniruddha Sahoshaha. So this Anirudha and Usha were taken away back to the kingdom. Muhustavat Chakram Varunamajayo Nandaharane Yamam Balanitau Davadahanapane Nilasakam Vidhim Vatstasteye Girishamiha Banasya Samare Vibho Vishwotkarshi Tadayam Avataro Jayatite. Now he summarizes a list of various incidents that have occurred in the last, I would say 40 Dashakams. Tvam Tavat Ajayaha. Krishna, it seems that you have won over Shakraha Muhuhu. Indra, who Shakra several times. One, during Govinda Pattabhishekam, where he did Garva Samharam of Indra by lifting Govardhana Parvatam, taking away all the water content of all the meghams that he possessed. One. Second, when after the Narakasura incident happened, Garuda fought with Indra and took away the Kalpaka Vriksha and planted it in the mansion of Satyabhama. So these were 2 incidents. So he says Shakram Muhuhu. Varunam Nandaharane. When Varuna abducted Nandagopa, Krishna fought Varuna and retrieved his father. Varunam Nandaharane. So he won over Indra, won over Varuna. Yamam Bala Nitau. Then he brought the boys who were taken away by Yama of his guru, Sandipani's children. So he brought them back. Yamam Bala Nitau. Anila Sakham Davadahana Pane. And then you brought down the Garvam of Agni, who is the friend of Vayu, through 2 forest fires while you stayed in that Vrindavana region, and thereby in Kandavadahanam along with Arjuna. So Anila Sakham Davadahana Pane, you consumed that fire. Vidhim Vastasteye. And you brought down the Garvam of Brahma during the Vatsapaharanam episode, when Brahma took over the calves and the cows. Girisham Iha Samare Banasya, and then brought down the Garvam in that particular incident of Shivaganas and Rudra through this incident of Banasura. Girisham Iha Samare Banasya. So of Shiva, of Brahma, of Agni, of Varuna, of Indra. Tathe Vibho, thereby the one who pervades everywhere. Ayam avataraha te, this particular avataram of yours, Krishna avataram, Jayati Vishwotkarshi, thereby is able to reflect as the perfect avataram in all aspects. Then Bhaṭṭatiri concludes, Dvijarusha Krikala Vapurdharam Nriga Nripam Tridivalayamapayan Nijajane Dvija Bhakti Manuttamam Upadishan Pavaneshwara Pahimam. He Pavaneshwara Apayan Tridivalayam Nriga Nripam. Thereby Nriga Nripam. There was a king called Nriga long back, and he was very generous. He gave away 1 cow to a Brahmana. Eventually, to another Brahmana, he had to give another cow. By mistake, he gave away the same cow that was granted to the first Brahmana. When the first Brahmana came in search of the cow, he spotted the cow with the second Brahmana. When the 2 Brahmanas went to Nriga for judgment, that is when he realizes the mistake and asks for Kshamapanam. The Brahmanas refuse to accept the cow and leave. Later, when he goes to Yamapatnam, Yama decides for this negligence of the king that he will be a chameleon. And that chameleon, as a lizard, comes and falls into the well during the Dwaraka days, which the sons and the grandsons of Krishna wish to retrieve. They call Krishna, and Krishna retrieves the chameleon, and the chameleon gets Shapa Vimochanam as a result of it. So, Nija Jane, Dvija Bhakti Manuttamam Upadishan Pavaneshwara Pahimam. He Pavaneshwara, He Bhagavan, Apayan Tridivalayam Nriga. Once the king called Nriga reached your quarters, Krikalasa Vapurdharam Dvijarusha. He was wearing the form of a chameleon on account of the wrath of Brahmanas. Upadishan Nijajane, on inculcating to know that he was there through your own people, that he was there. Anuttamam Dvijabhaktim. Now seeing that there is a paschatapam in that Nriga, who's now the chameleon, Tvammam Pahi, that is when Krishna gave moksham, vimochanam to that Nriga in the form of a lizard. Hey Krishna, will it take for you to remove my distress as well? Pleads Bhaṭṭatiri in this Dashakam.
कल्याणरूपाय कलौ जनानां कल्याणदात्रे करुणासुधाब्दे कंवादि दिव्यायुधसत्कराय वातालयाधीश नमो नमस्ते. नारायण 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 नारायण